As long as I've been going to Disney World, people have argued over which nighttime show is the best, the most worth seeing, the one truly worthy of the title Nighttime Spectacular. Okay, maybe not that last one, but you get the idea. Now, I'm actually only going to be looking at a very specific set of those shows, namely the ones that have had MagicBand Plus functionality integrated. As of the recording of this video, these are the contenders. For Magic Kingdom, that means Enchantment, Happily Ever After, and the fireworks shows for the Very Merry Christmas and Not So Scary Halloween parties. For Epcot, that means Harmonious, Epcot Forever, Luminous, and I'm also going to include the shows on Spaceship Earth since those are predominantly displayed in the app. For Hollywood Studios, we've only got Fantasmic. Last and potentially not least, we have the summer drone show Dreams That Soar that premiered a few days ago at Disney Springs. I will be looking at how well these shows integrated the MagicBand Plus with everything that's going on, and then put them in their deserving spot. Now, let's go ahead and get started. Number 10, Spaceship Earth shows. I'm sorry, Epcot, but the shows on Spaceship Earth are very hit or miss for the MagicBand Plus functionality. For Festival of the Holidays, every other show had unique functionality, which alone would rank it decently high on this list. However, only the default show had it for Flower and Garden, so that's not as fun. Right now, it seems like the functionality is either getting reused for both of the non-festival shows, or is having some weird glitch. I'm not honestly sure which. One of those current shows is based on You're Welcome from Moana, and the other, I actually didn't get to hear the music because I was already out of the park. However, the functionality I saw was only the white circle, similar to the one used during the 2023 Christmas tree stroll at Disney Springs. It is very cool that this functionality reaches all the way until the bridges between the former Future World and World Showcase, but ultimately it often feels like an afterthought compared to the other shows. Number 9, Enchantment. Enchantment was one of the very first shows to have MagicBand Plus functionality integrated. Now, it is totally possible that the Magic Kingdom After Hours that started this year have revamped the functionality, but none of the other shows have gotten a chance for a revamp like that, so I'm only counting the original. And honestly, there's not much functionality for it. It's insane that Disney tried to sell the MagicBand Plus as a more immersive Magic Band, and it barely did anything with Magic Kingdom's fireworks when it released. Number 8, Harmonious. Harmonious was the other of the first fireworks shows that used the MagicBand Plus. Due to that, it also has pretty basic effects for when it lights up. It was definitely cool to see it light up with the barges, but the basic effects pale in comparison to what came after. However, it still has a lot less downtime compared to Enchantment, which does seem to be a running trend for Epcot shows compared to Magic Kingdom. Number 7, Not So Scary Spectacular. I will always say that watching the effects in person is much better than seeing them in a video. However, I can't watch Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party fireworks year round, and I honestly haven't been to the party since 2022, so video is all I have. Unfortunately, it's still very obvious that the functionality from 2022 was moved to 2023, which means there's this very basic, let's sit on this color, and that's kind of lame for a party that you have to pay extra for. Number 6, Minnie's Wonderful Christmas Time Fireworks. In a similar vein to the Halloween party, I haven't actually gone to a Very Merry Christmas party since 2022. However, my friend Jolly Holiday Kachow did actually go last year. Based on the footage she sent me, it's just the 2022 effects again. Which is to say fairly basic, and obviously they're not going to put in more effort because why would they? They've already got effects for those fireworks. So maybe the next time they upgrade the show. Number 5, Happily Ever After. It almost feels wrong to have such a beloved fireworks show barely breaking the top 5, but it kinda gets faulted for just constantly lacking MagicBand Plus effects. However, it definitely beats out everything before it due to the use of lots of multicolored effects when the band is actually being used. I've recorded this and Phantasmic a few times with the MagicBand Plus now, so I know part of the issue is potentially the signal not always hitting the band for every single effect. However, I've also recorded it enough to know it does have a decent amount of downtime. Ultimately, the effects that it utilizes are really cool, but it also doesn't distract during the more serious moments of the show, so it's balanced, I guess. This is a fairly neutral use of it, but I don't know if that actually is going to sell it to people. Number 4, Luminous: The Symphony of Us. As of this list, Luminous is the current show at Epcot, and it absolutely does a wonderful job integrating the MagicBand Plus into the show. From the beginning hellos to the very end, it is very obvious that Disney was actually trying with this show. It doesn't have 100% use of the band, but it being the first brand new fireworks show after the MagicBand Plus released, made it obvious that Disney was actually properly thinking about the effects as the show was being created, instead of adding them on, once the show had already been running for several months. Enchantment. It's got multicolored lights and clearly demonstrates the next step forward for integrating the bands with the show's around property. Number 3, Epcot Forever. The short-lived return of Epcot Forever, featured the closest a show at Disney World has gotten to 100% usage of the MagicBand Plus. There is barely any downtime. It was also fairly dynamic for being integrated into a show that was just meant to hold over Epcot until the next major fireworks started. This was actually the show that made me realize I should be recording the effects so that I could watch them regardless of if Disney did away with that specific fireworks show. Which means it might have some bias because it's one of the reasons I created this channel. Number 2, Disney Dreams That Soar. This is the newest show on the list, and the only one at this time that has had a set start and end date when it released. Disney didn't even announce that the show would have MagicBand Plus effects, so it was definitely a nice surprise when I got to see them during the first show. Since this is a guaranteed limited time effect, it doesn't feel right to give it first place, as after the summer, no one's going to be able to see it live. But the individual aspects for each character, and just the speed at which they change in time with the drones, is phenomenal, especially the Star Wars sequence. I'm honestly not sure if I could argue that this is even an attempt to sell the MagicBand Plus, considering that Disney refuses to actually advertise it. But I highly recommend bringing one to this show specifically, as you'll get a vibration when Wally and Eve kiss. Number 1, Phantasmic. This is by far the longest show on the list, clocking in at roughly 30 minutes with the pre-show. This was the first show where it actually felt like Disney was trying to further immerse guests into the story by strategically using vibrations, or, actually bothering with very basic effects. I highly recommend going and watching the full show, which I have on my channel, as the effects are amazing and well done in time with everything going on. The vibration I mentioned earlier is right when Mickey defeats the villains and they get an electric shock. At this time, your MagicBand Plus will vibrate and, I guess, treat you like a villain? I'm not really sure why, but it does kind of give you that full effect. There's also a lot of other cool effects, such as the Beast Rose, or the bubbles when all the characters are appearing. I just really like this thing. Honestly, going back through, especially for shows that are no longer running, was a lot of fun. If you think something should have been in a different spot, definitely let me know in the comments, wherever they are now. As I've said previously, I want Disney to know how much the little details are appreciated, and this is no different. especially since they won't do any proper advertising, so somebody has to make sure that the MagicBand Plus gets the love it deserves. I definitely want to make sure that I mention that these 9 shows plus, whatever's running on Spaceship Earth at the time, are in no way the only functionality around property. I highly recommend getting your own MagicBand Plus, charging it, and going around the parks to discover some of the functionality on your own. Or, watch my list of everything you can do with it, because that's a lot faster. Anyways, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you real soon. Bye!